With breaking news, I'm Jay Struberg. The suspect in the assassination of conservative commentator Charlie Kirk has been caught. We just got an update from officials just moments ago. Jim Nelson is live for us in Utah with the latest. Jim, we know the identity of the suspect now, and we're getting a better idea of some of the details in this investigation.
Yeah, and one of the things that investigators talked about from the very beginning was the role that surveillance video would play ultimately in solving this case. And it certainly sounds as though the video and those pictures played a major role in this. We have now seen the booking photo of Tyler Robinson, a 22-year-old from Utah, who is now in custody awaiting formal charges, but he has been booked in a jail about 4 hours south of Orem, Utah, which is where the shooting took place on the campus of Utah Valley University. Robinson, officials say, was recognized by a family member when some of the images were released. That family member then contacted a family friend, and they had expressed or indicated that they believe that Robinson was the person involved in this and may have even suggested that he was the one who shot Charlie Kirk. And obviously investigators then followed up and interviewed those people, and ultimately it was determined by them that he indeed was their suspect. We talked about the surveillance video, and the one that came out last night was the rooftop video of the person running from one side of it to the back side, lowering themselves and then jumping off of the roof. That was where the FBI said he left a palm print and a footprint before running off into a neighborhood near the campus. They found the gun not too far away, a high-powered rifle in a wooded area in that same general area. And again, they had pleaded with the public to come forward with any information if they recognize that person. And as it turns out, based on what we just heard, it sounds like it was some of the people closest to Robinson who ultimately led to his arrest. They reached out to authorities, they did the interviews, and they determined that there was enough to make that arrest. They said there was a history of disliking Charlie Kirk, that there were conversations that Robinson had with family about that. Obviously, some of the intricate details will likely come out once court documents are available. But again, formal charges still a few days away, likely next week, since we're coming up on a weekend. But again, a 22-year-old now in custody for the shooting death of Charlie Kirk. Back to you.
Yeah, Jim, and just listening to that press conference just a little while ago, one of the more fascinating details was about those bullet casings. There's been a lot of speculation that there were some engravings on there, and Utah Governor Spencer Cox confirming that there were inscriptions on some of the bullet casings as we look for a motive behind this. And I just wanted to read a couple of them that suggest a very clear motive. It said, quote, "Hey fascist, catch." That's one. And another one saying, "If you read this, you are gay." There's also another one that referenced Bella Ciao, which is an anti-fascist song. So it's becoming clearer and clearer what possibly motivated this. Obviously, investigators are piecing together a lot of different evidence as they put forward the motivation. Do you get a sense of how the campus is reacting to this? Conservatives, this was a beloved figure on the right, a very influential man, a young man with a family. How is the university reacting to this, the student population?
You know, it's hard to tell because classes have been canceled and the campus has been closed. That's not to say we haven't seen students here and there, but generally speaking, this campus, because it's an active crime scene, has mostly been law enforcement and media. Yesterday, around the end of what would be the typical workday, we started to see some people laying flowers and candles. And actually, I just saw out of the corner of my eye, I don't know where they went now, but I saw out of the corner of my eye, it looked like potentially students or around that college age were kind of walking down with some signs. We saw some of that yesterday. I think they were just holding signs for traffic, and they were just positive messages kind of in support of Charlie Kirk. And I think it's the same crowd that I recognized from yesterday that's just come down, about 5 or 6 people. So, you know, it was obviously very somber when we first got here a couple of days ago. I think it started to sink in yesterday, the gravity of everything, the reality. And I would imagine that with each day, there will be a little bit more of that feeling of this is sinking in. And then now with kind of a formal step in the judicial process with an arrest, I would imagine that it will sink in only more. I'm sure we will have a chance to get to speak to some of those students here as the day goes on. I'd expect that more of them will start to come out here, especially as word continues to get out.
Yeah, it's obviously on top of the Charlie Kirk assassination. We also had what happened with the political attacks in Minnesota as well. And of course, you know, we're still just 1 year removed from the second assassination attempt on Donald Trump. This is all fueling a lot of conversation, a lot of intense conversation about where we stand with political violence. I guess from your sense, from your vantage point, are the younger voices on that college campus, are they fearful to go back to classes?
I haven't gotten that sense from those that I have talked to, but they have talked about just the notion of, I think and I'm paraphrasing one of the conversations I had with a student who was actually at the event, and then we talked to him later that evening, something to the effect, and he's not the only one to say this, that they felt that, Charlie Kirk was killed just for the things he said. And I've heard from some that say, maybe this will be the wake-up call to tone things down on both sides. I've heard from others. One person, he walked up by some of the cameras yesterday and said they woke us up, calling Charlie Kirk a martyr for the cause. So I certainly think that it's on an individual basis where things go from here, but there's no doubt that has become a huge part of the national conversation. Just watching some of the cable news channels the last couple of days, that is certainly a talking point on both sides of the aisle. So where things go from here, we'll obviously have to wait and see, but as you pointed out, there's no doubt that these incidents have certainly increased over the last couple of years and have, really been a huge part now of this news cycle.
Oh, absolutely, Jim. It's caused a lot of conversation. We're hearing the word civil war being used a lot more in right-wing circles. Obviously furious about this, the left pointing to just the inflamed rhetoric at times. Certainly a lot of debate. Jim, thank you so much for the update.